Much like its 1989 predecessor, the 2024 film Roadhouse revolves around a local town bar seeking the aid of a hired bouncer to maintain order in the rowdy establishment, aptly named the Roadhouse. Directed by Doug Liman, known for his work on Edge of Tomorrow, The Bourne Identity, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this reimagining stars Jake Gyllenhaal as the lead character, Elwood Dalton. Joel Silver, the producer of the original, also takes credit for producing this version. With a runtime of 121 minutes, Roadhouse is currently available for streaming on Amazon Prime Video. The film delivers its fair share of hard-hitting, bar-brawling action akin to its predecessor, but the question remains, can it match the cult classic status of the original film? But before we get into the review, we want to express our gratitude to all our subscribers and supporters for helping us reach 200 subscribers. It's an honor and a privilege to provide quality content to the YouTube community. If you have any specific movies you'd like us to review, please leave a comment below. If this is your first time visiting our channel, consider liking this video and subscribing. Also, hitting the notification bell will alert you when we drop new content. Now, let's get critical. We're introduced to Elwood Dalton, a former UFC middleweight fighter who utilizes his reputation to swindle money from underground fights. His notoriety and sheer intimidation piqued the interest of bar owner Frankie, portrayed by Jessica Williams. Frankie offers Dalton a job as a bouncer. Initially reluctant, Dalton accepts the offer and travels to the Florida Keys community named Glass Keys. Along the way, he befriends the local bookstore owners, Stephen and his daughter Charlie, who manage the store. Dalton eventually arrives at the local bar, Frankie's establishment, appropriately named the Roadhouse. At the Roadhouse, Dalton quickly establishes himself as he defends against a motorcycle gang working for local crime boss Ben Brandt. He personally transports the injured gang members to the hospital where he meets local doctor Ellie. Dalton also mentors the other bouncers and forms a bond with the locals. Dell, one of the men from the motorcycle gang and a henchman for Brandt, attempts to assassinate him but fails. Dalton later encounters Dell waiting for him at his boathouse. An altercation ensues, resulting in Dell being thrown overboard. Despite Dalton's efforts to rescue Dell, he is devoured by a crocodile. Due to his repeated failures to drive Frankie out of town and abandon her bar, Brandt's incarcerated father hires mafia enforcer Knox, portrayed by Conor McGregor, to eliminate Dalton. Meanwhile, a romance blossoms between Ellie and Dalton, but their relationship is interrupted by Sheriff Big Dick, who holds Dalton hostage and threatens him in a bid to force him to leave town. However, Ellie intervenes, revealing herself to be the sheriff's daughter. Back at the Roadhouse, Brandt taunts Dalton, dredging up his past. During a UFC fight, Dalton, consumed by rage, inadvertently kills his friend and opponent. Brandt then dispatches Knox and other gang members into the bar to provoke an all-out brawl, leaving Dalton severely battered. Frankie admits Brandt's plans to build a resort, but she refuses to sell her property. Dalton, intending to leave, changes his mind after Brandt's thugs attack Charlie and Steven's bookstore. Dalton seeks revenge, killing one thug and framing a corrupt deputy for the murder to steal Brandt's money. The sheriff informs Dalton that Brandt has kidnapped Ellie, using her as leverage for the cash. Dalton confronts Brandt on his yacht where Ellie is held captive. A confrontation ensues, resulting in explosions and a struggle for survival. Brandt and Knox are both killed in a fight between Dalton and Knox. Dalton rescues Ellie, and with the sheriff's agreement to cover for him, they part ways. As the town rebuilds, Dalton departs, leaving behind a trunk of stolen cash for Charlie and Steven. In a post-credit scene, Knox, believed to be dead, emerges from the hospital, hinting at potential future trouble. Typically, when movies attempt to remake or reimagine a classic film, they often miss the mark. But Roadhouse 2024 managed to do a decent job by drawing inspiration from the original film while still maintaining its own unique identity. Much of the credit to this nuance is owed to Gyllenhaal's performance, as he skillfully balances the stoic, burdened, reluctant hero persona with an unexpectedly kind and charismatic demeanor. In the original film, the bar is named Double Deuce and is situated in Missouri, not Florida. Additionally, Dalton's first name is John, not Elwood in the original movie. These are just a few of the changes that writers Anthony Bagarazzi and Charlie Mondry decided to incorporate, none of which distract from the storyline. The action in the film is more nuanced, featuring harder hits and incorporating techniques such as leg locks, arm bars, and various fighting styles reminiscent of mixed martial arts such as judo and Muay Thai. While the original film depicted Swayze using some jiu-jitsu and aikido, the advancements in technology for Roadhouse 2024 allowed the director to capture cleaner shots with fewer edits, resulting in more compelling action sequences. No stranger to body transformations for movie roles, Gyllenhaal underwent rigorous training thanks to trainer Jason Walsh, and was able to reduce his body fat percentage to 5%, dropping from 205 pounds to approximately 185 pounds. stunt coordinator Garrett Warren introduced a new technique that effectively portrays each hit as connecting with the target. This technique, known as the ABCD pass, involves 4 shots seamlessly blended together. In the first shot, the person throws the punch. The second pass shows the person throwing the punch with a red pad attached to their hand, simultaneously hitting the target as forcefully as possible. The third pass captures the impact of the person hitting the pad, and finally, the fourth pass provides a blank background without any foreground elements, allowing for the seamless blending of all 4 shots. McGregor's portrayal of Knox may have been a bit exaggerated for the film, but for his debut acting role, it wasn't terrible. Much of his effectiveness stemmed from his ability to convincingly execute action scenes. The script introduced his character, establishing his chaotic mannerisms and psychopathic tendencies, but the over-the-top performance distracted from any sense of seriousness the movie aimed to convey. Ultimately, the writing is straightforward, and if you've seen the original film, there isn't much nuance to this movie. I found the movie to be a decent watch. The writing could have delved deeper into the tortured soul aspect, providing more insight into Dalton's calm and collected exterior, masking an underlying, unrestrained rage waiting to erupt. While the film hints at this early on, it doesn't fully explore this aspect, particularly during the fight scenes. I appreciated the well-executed action scenes, which featured clean shots with minimal edits, as previously mentioned. However, the sudden shift to first-person point-of-view shots during the fight scenes was a bit jarring. Additionally, the portrayal of the gangsters as comically incompetent, while perhaps intentional, could have benefited from a more serious tone, enhancing the contrast with Dalton's treatment of them after defeating them. Overall, the movie was a decent watch, but didn't break new ground or set trends, which wasn't necessarily expected. Not quite living up to the B-movie spirit, but delivering exactly what I anticipated, I rate Roadhouse 2024 3 out of 5 stars.
Ow!
Roadhouse.
Peter, for God's sakes, if you're gonna do that, at least aim for my breasts. Oh, yeah!
Roadhouse.